Can you vote?
Hi everyone. Hi. Okay. I'm here. Yes, I'm here. I'm here and I'm so glad to see all of you. Those of you will be crying, oh, is there one to hug you? Okay. Okay, because of time, I think we're starting late. Just give me a minute. Okay, so they are trying to see if they can project the slide, but if not, this you can just get your notes. And we can start right away if you're not getting everything projected. All right, I smell you so much. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So with you here, it's or before you is Miss Chiabino Baby, formerly known as Miss Mimi. Yeah, so I'm actually from Bahrain. For those of you who know, I'm not based in the UAE. And I'm a wife, a mother of 2 little angels. You all know my chihuahuas. Yeah, so and I'm an inclusion specialist, a leader in me advocate. I will not talk to you without mentioning leader in me. For those of you who've spoken to me, you can testify. And I'm honored to be here today, of course, as one of your speakers for the day. And I don't know if I'm prepared, but I know that I have something to give you guys. And I want to believe that you all are very much ready for today. So aside being a Christian, being a mom, being a wife, I'm a both cognitive specialist. I am actually a certified behavioral therapist. Of course, that's my first husband. A certified international inclusive educator, and also a certified early childhood educator. So aside from being all of these I've mentioned, I'm actually a psychological. I don't know if I should start naming everything, but one thing you need to understand about me is I like to boast about my achievements because that's what makes me who I am today. Please, AC, or am I the one feeling it? Is it hot? Yeah. It's hot. It's really hot. Really hot. Okay, so we continue with the try. Please, can we have AC, please? All right. So aside whatever I'm talking about here, I am a mental health and well-being practitioner as well, a human resource management and leadership practitioner. All right. So I want to say all of this. The reason why I'm mentioning all of this is because, like I said, this is what makes me who I am today. And my journey started 9 years ago as a shadow teacher, just like any of you seated here. And for those of you, I don't need to tell you guys anything about my story again, but I will just continue from where I am today. So the reason why I'm giving you all of this about me is to make you understand that whatever I will be giving here today is not something that I got from the internet. It is something that I got from, I'm sharing with you the insight I've gotten from the 9 years that I've been in the field practicing as a special needs educator. And of course, today I do serve as a special needs educator for lower school, and of course, a lead head for lower school, and I work in a special needs school. So I work as a lead head for the lower school. So standing before you is a leader. And I'm here today, the topic we're going to be talking about today is So what I'm talking about today is the leadership blueprint for inclusive educators. Now, one thing we all need to understand is that before you are an educator, do you see yourself as a leader? Do you see yourself as a leader, or you are just an LSA? You're just a sent teacher. So who is a leader to you? Who is a leader to you, please? Yes, who is a leader? Okay. Thank you so much. And that is what I would call the servant leadership. So I see myself as a servant leadership. And that is why I'm here today to make you all, if you that habit of seeing yourself as a leader was missing, this is the day you have to get it back. I don't know where it went to, I don't know, but we have to get it back. So now, but before we start, I want you all to stand up, please, for a minute. You all know, please, can everyone be on their feet? I feel like we feel sleepy already. So let's stand so we can do this as fast as possible, and then we can get in, and then because of time. All right. So we all know that when we attend occasions like this, we're so very excited to come to the venue. After learning, and then you go back. For those of you on my TikTok live, I always like to do a recap. And when I ask you, how was it today, or we talked about this topic last time, can somebody tell me what is reinforcement? Because we come, we learn, we forget. Because we go put the knowledge under the carpet. And it said knowledge is power, yes. But I always like to say it is more powerful when it is shared and implemented. And that's, for those of you who know me already, I like that we take this vow before we start, because I don't want to give out or stand here to be a waste today. But whatever we're going to talk about here today should be something that you need to remember until, as long as you're going, every time you want to forget, I know this, me said this. So we all know, can you put your hand on your chest? Please, your right hand. This is a vow to yourself, it's not for anybody. It is for yourself. All right, so you call your name. I Mildred, I do so swear that whatever I'm going to learn here today will be shared, implemented, and also used to impact others. So help me, Lord. All right. Then we are in this, don't sit down. We need to network. So this is a time for you, some of you don't know your neighbor's name. So I want you to remind your neighbor that you are here to learn today. So please look for a neighbor. Ask your neighbor's name. What is your name? We're here to network. I know a partner. Okay, so what's your name?
Henrietta. Henrietta Mildred.
Okay, so hold your neighbor's hand and call their name. Henrietta. Please, let's respect some other, please. Please. Okay, Henrietta. Please call your neighbor's name. You're still holding their hands. Okay, call your neighbor's name, Henrietta. Remember that. You are here today. To learn. And whatever you learn. Do not put it under your pillow. But please put it into practice. May God help you. Okay, have a seat. Alright, so we're going to be starting. Okay. I want you to raise your hand up if you have ever been overwhelmed by your role as an LSA. Your hands up. An inclusion teacher. I don't have to call your destination. Have you ever been overwhelmed in whatever you are doing? If you have ever been in that position, can I see your hand up? Wow. So some of us don't, what should I call? We're never overwhelmed. Okay, that's beautiful. I like to know that. Okay, So your hands are still up, please. For those I asked you to put your hands up. Now, keep your hands up if you have ever felt like what you are doing or you are not appreciated for what you're doing. You know, trying to manage behaviors in the classroom, parents are not appreciating you, the school is not appreciating you, nobody seems to see what you're doing. Please, your hand up, let's see. How many of you? Please don't lie. I know those of you are my mates here. Maybe it's me, my parents is not. Please, can I see your hands down? Don't be shy. If you've ever felt like your work is not being appreciated enough, can I see your hand up? Can we? Okay. So I love the fact that lots of us actually are being appreciated at work. So I forgot to put my hand up because I feel that as well. And that is why today we're going to be talking, the first topic for today is going to be building confidence and resilience in your role as an inclusive educator or teacher. All right. Now, I want us to look at the leader in me. You all know what is the leader in me. The leader in me is an educational framework. Sorry, they're trying to set up the projector. So the leader in me is, but before we go to the leader in me, I just want us to look at something briefly here. What is inclusion? What is inclusion? Please, let's be fast. What is inclusion? Who can tell me what is inclusion? What is inclusion? Oh, I'm an inclusion teacher. I'm an inclusion assistant teacher. Oh, I want to be an inclusion teacher. What is inclusion? Okay. Sorry, I might not know your names. I might not know your faces, but I know names, you know. Yeah, so yes, let's hear from you.
Inclusion is creating an environment.
Okay.
Yeah. Inclusion is creating an environment where every child feels accepted.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Can you talk from there or you need the mic?
Yes.
Okay. Let's hear from you.
Accepted, belong, accommodated, whether
Okay, thank you so much. I love that definition. So let's wait. I'm coming to others. So I love to define inclusion as a concept of creating an accommodating environment whereby everyone, regardless of their abilities or disabilities, feel loved, valued, accepted, and supported to meet their full potential. So if you're talking about an inclusive environment, or you're talking about an inclusion teacher, and you do not practice any of these, you don't accept diversity, and you do not value your children or your students, or you do not love them or support them to the best of your knowledge to meet their full potentials, then you are not practicing inclusion. Now, so when we talk about inclusion, what are some of the goals for inclusion? We're going to look at equal access to learning. Every child has the right to learn, regardless of their abilities or their disability. We are actually celebrating the World Autism. Is it April, the month of Autism Awareness? And we are advocating for inclusion and acceptance, which means the reason why we are actually creating awareness for this or advocating for this is because we want equality. We want children to be respected regardless of their abilities or their disabilities, because it's autism. It's autism a disease. It is not a disease, it's a difference. And is it okay to live with people in the world who have different perspectives, that do feel the different way we feel? Is it okay or it's bad? It's okay. It's okay for us because we know that already. So one of the goals for inclusion
Yeah.
So one of the goals is actually, sorry, my book is missing. So one of the goals for inclusion is to create equality and also advocate for inclusion space. Now, I like to say that when we talk about creating an inclusion space for every child, it's not just about you carry your backpack in the morning, go to school, then you finish, and then you carry your head home after scrolling at your child the whole day in school. Children know when they are not loved. They know when they are not accepted. They can feel it. You don't need to tell them. If I walk into a room and the child is sitting next to you and the child is not comfortable, I can tell that the child is not comfortable. Because in one way or the other, they might not have that relationship with you. I always like to say, if you have your students and you realize that there is so much behaviors or so much avoidance, demand avoidance going on around and stuff, in most cases it's because they are not comfortable around us, because we lack relationship. There is no pairing. There is no rapport. I like this. You guys know I love these two particular words, rapport and pairing. So this is what we are advocating for. So when you are talking about inclusion, make sure you wake up in the house in the morning, you're going to school, you have a problem with your roommate, with your boyfriend, with your husband, with your sister or whoever, please keep them in the house. The energy you carry with you to school will actually determine how you're going to manage your student for the day. And that brings me to what we call the leadership. Who is a leader? A leader is someone who leads by example. A leader is someone who influences others. A leader is a good model. A leader is not someone who asks people to do things. A leader is someone who shows people what to do and not tell people, you stand here, do this. Take that child outside and let the child stop crying. As a leader, a servant leader. I call special educators servant leaders. Why? Because for you to be able to coordinate an inclusive space or be a leader in an inclusive space, you need to be a very selfless person. To manage human beings is not easy. So let's talk managing children with diversity. Managing children with different ways of expressing emotions. You are going through another thing and then another LSA will just pass and be like, just annoy you, and then you carry that aggression and transfer it on your child. A servant leader doesn't transfer aggression. When we talk about leader in me, it is called the leader inside of me. Which means that if for you to be that leader in any inclusive space that you find yourself, you need to first identify yourself as a leader. You cannot lead people when you can't lead yourself. If you cannot see yourself, prioritize the task, trying to be very, I don't want to say time management because I'm very bad when it comes to time management, I'm so sorry. Yes, if you cannot see yourself modeling your children or your students in one way or the other, you say, don't bring juice to school, but you're the one doing snap, you're starting sitting in front of the child, sipping juice. But he said, don't bring juice to school. Then you're not a leader. So a leader in me is an academic framework designed and published by Stephen Covey in his book formerly called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. This is a program where I'm privileged to be one of the schools in Bahrain that do practice the leader in me. It is a program that they take you through, they train you for you to become an advocate for that. And this is a framework that is designed to help educators and teachers to be able to what? Take accountability. To do what? Be responsible and also learn life skills. As long as we are trying with our students wanting to succeed, wanting to do this, for sure, every human being needs leadership life skill to succeed in a community. Because when you lack those leadership or you fail to see yourself as a leader, you remain intimidated for the rest of your life. You will never see the need to be confident in whatever you have to do. And that is why I am here today to tell you that one of the ways for you to be confident and resilient as an inclusive educator, you need to see yourself as a leader. Now, let's look at, as a leader, how do you build resilience in an inclusive setting where you have to deal with a lot of difficult challenges, students are biting, kicking, and stuff. The first thing I always like to say is that you have to learn to seek first to understand, to be understood. That is a good habit.
Thank you.
You have to learn to seek first to understand before you will be understood. What do we mean by this? When you see students having behavior, we are African. I am an African mother. Now, that just discredits their feelings. You're trying to let them understand or make them feel like their feelings are not valid. But you don't discriminate, because if you do that to me in person, even when you be a neurotypical person, I will not find it funny with you. And for you to know that you're a true leader, you need to be able to extend your respect even to the least of the kids that you're working with. If you cannot find yourself respecting your student, just want to be that authoritative LSA, that classroom teacher that will instruct your LSAs around anyhow, your kids around. Students need respect. For those of you who've ever spoken to me and I send you a voice and I'm in class, if you notice one thing with me, even when I'm on live and I'm talking to my kids, I normalize using the word please when I'm talking to them, even at my worst, even when they want to get in here. If I'm instructing them, I try to use the word please. Because I am a leader, aside from being a mom. Because of who I want them to represent tomorrow in the community, I want them to be able to step out with that respect in order to function properly in the community. When we talk about you being a leader, you are nurturing lives. These lives we are talking about are these little kids. If you cannot identify those attributes in you, seek us to understand. How do you want to teach your students to understand what the teacher is learning? You are simply saying that when the teacher is learning, just sit and then just raise your hand up even without understanding the question. And then you realize that because you lack the skills, you are not able to be patient with your kids. You are just, you have to learn. No, you have to learn. You have to write. That's what some of you say. My student is not writing. How old is the student? 4 years. What are you pressurizing a 4 years autistic child or special child to write? When you have not even seek first to understand why they cannot write. But my son, my child doesn't sit down to listen to anybody. He doesn't. No problem. Have you tried to be patient? To know why is a child trying to escape? Not all escaping behaviors are because the child doesn't want to write. In most cases, we are the problem. We fail to understand because we fail to seek first to understand why the child is not sitting down to write. In most cases, a teacher is teaching a topic and the child is, because it's difficult for them, they cannot comprehend what they are teaching. They put an activity. Unfortunately, when we say we are in an inclusive space, there is a lot of schools don't really practice differentiation, which is one thing I actually encourage you all to do. You are an LSA, but you have to be an LSA with a difference. Always make sure that you put yourself in that position to create extra activities from what they do in class for your students. Me, I work with students. My students are from 6 years to 10 years, but I do not use pencils in my class. Why I don't use pencils is because most of my students, I work with C students, and most of the C students are actually at the stage of level 3 autism, and most of them have ADHD. My class is one of the most difficult classes in school. That's why I tell some of you, if you see on my stage, I'm with benefits in class, I'm with Crocs and stuff. Because anytime I'm running left and right and stuff. And I know that what makes them settle down to do any activity is what? Multisensory activities. They will do anything you want them to do as long as pencil is not involved. Clipping, they will do. Anything that is not pencil for them to sit and start doing, they will not do it. And because of that, that's why at times I always say my principal will be like, your class is. Alright, so we have it. That's why most often when principal will be like, oh, your class, what magic are you using? There's no magic. Because I seek first to understand my kids before. Yeah, so one of the things we need to learn how to do is to seek first to understand, then we can understand. If we seek first to understand, then we can be understood. Don't tell your student, you have to write, you have to write. Seek first to understand why your child is not wanting to write, and then you try as much as possible, because when you are gentle with them, they will definitely be gentle with you. Trust me, lots of you can testify that when you are in class with your students, the moment you see them getting into a behavior and you start reciprocating that behavior, it escalates. Am I lying? They want to, because they love it when you start putting like pressure, you want to fight back and stuff. So they'll be like, you want to show me that you can fight, eh? Let's have it hand to hand. And then you find yourself stressed the whole day. So let's learn to understand our kids, to know why they are not doing that thing that they are doing, so they can be able to understand us. This thing, we are not only here to teach special needs children to understand us. It is our responsibility to understand them, and they understand us. That's why we're talking about rapport and pairing. When all of these two things are missing, trust me, you're wasting your time there. You're just being a nanny to a very difficult child. That's how you see your students. The next thing is being proactive and not reactive. That is a leader. As a leader, you need to learn to be proactive and not reactive. When we talk about proactiveness, what do we mean? You should be that leader that is able to look at a child and say, oh, there is a problem. This child needs intervention. And the intervention comes in before you wait until when the behavior happens. And then you start reacting. And when you're reacting at that time, you react with emotions. And when you're reacting with emotions, you're worsening the behavior. Now, you know that your student needs, you know that because your student cannot write, I'm going to get them, let's say they're doing ABC. And then you say, no, okay, for that reason, I'm going to make them an ABC activity and a hands-on activity. And you know that during the time when they have to write, the student will start running away. Now, as a good LSA, you know that your student doesn't like paperwork. He can do that activity literally in any other activity, in any material. What will you do? What will you do in order to prevent reactiveness? Should I come again? Okay. As an LSA, you know that you have this student doesn't like writing. They prefer doing activities with different other materials, like multisensory materials. Then the teacher comes to the class today and then they are sharing papers. And then they share the paper and the child throws the paper away. But when you give that activity to that child in another form, the child does it. What do you think? Or do you always look at it as a situation where the child is just throwing the paper because the child wants to run away? Because that's how a lot of us see as students. When the child starts running away or avoiding an activity, the first thing that comes to your mind is, he doesn't like to do work. He cannot sit down. He cannot. And when in that process of doing that, you realize that you start pressuring yourself, you start pressuring the student as well. And then what happened? The whole behavior escalates. You see a child rolling. So as a good LSA, to avoid situations of the child pushing the activity where you already know that the child doesn't like paperwork, what will you do? if you are a proactive person, what will you do? Yes, please. Okay. Yes, anyone else? Yes.
Can you stand this? I thank you. Can I come there? You want me to come? Okay, you will modify the activity.
Thank you. Yes. As a proactive teacher, you should modify that activity before class time. Instead of when they're sharing paperwork, if the child pushes the activity away, oh, no worries. So at times, it is always good to even give them two choices. I encourage you guys to use choice boards a lot. Children are not robots. They have rights to make their own personal choices. Our responsibilities as educators is to teach them how to make right choices. At times, present the two activities in front of them. What do you prefer? And let them choose what they feel comfortable doing at that time. Rather than say, oh, he's just running away. Oh, he's not. No. So as a proactive leader, you prepare ahead of time. You prepare. You put in the intervention strategies in place before the behavior occurs. You don't wait until the behavior occurs before you start running around and say, oh, what am I supposed to do? Oh, how can I calm him down? No. That's why I encourage you guys, know your students. It's very important. Know your students. Now, the next strategy we're going to be going through is to be resilient as an inclusive teacher and as a leader in inclusive setting. You have to always begin with an end in mind. Can you see that? Begin with an end in mind. How many of us do give activities for us? We just give them activities. There's no structure, there's no system. And then you're expecting that child to have an end. They are writing. And then all of a sudden you just give a child, what should I do with the paper? Because even they are confused. I need to see exactly what you expect from me. What you expect from me. Okay, when a child is going to school, the child is already certain that I am going to school, I have to go through this process and until I graduate. It's the same way you are giving a child an activity to do as a leader. When you are leading people, let them see the end. There is actually a success story at the end that you're looking forward to. That's why you need to plan whatever they say. Failing to plan is planning to fail. When you fail to plan, when you plan, you know the end, you know what you're working towards. These are my goals. And these goals has to be achieved before I feel fulfilled. And the moment you do not plan, what are you doing? You just mess up. You see yourself trying to bring in a lot of stuff inside that very unnecessary stuff. So as a leader, you should always begin with an end in mind. When giving a student an activity, please, if possible, do that activity for them to see and know that we are doing this activity and this is where we're going to end. This is the end result. This is what I want you to do. Students with special needs, they need to know what's ahead of them before time, so that they know the speed they're going to move in order to get there. They don't just wake up and then they just want to get, you know what, I'm just doing this, I don't even know, because it gets them frustrated at the end of the day. That's why I encourage you guys, learn to use your tokens. A child is supposed to do 3 activities. Let there be 3 tokens outside for each of those activities, so that the child knows that at the end I'm working towards, for me to get this last token, I have to reach here. And when I reach here, I think, wow, very good. That was a great one. Token in, have your break. Don't keep students down waiting without any structure. It doesn't make sense. So we've talked about seek to understand. So the next is building a strong support network. This is a seminar, we organized a seminar. I was expecting the hall to really be full. Because as special needs educators, one of the things that we need is we need each other to grow in this field. I'm telling you, I've been there for 9 years. I know what I'm talking about. It can be so exhausting. Special needs is very sweet, but it's very, very exhausting. If you don't have the right people around you, if you don't have those right minds to tell you, guide you on what to do. you will get frustrated. So you need, how many of you here do have friends that are special need educators as well? How do you feel? How do you feel when you're together? You realize that you avoid talking about unnecessary things. Every time like, oh, see, this my student is like, and then one thing is, for me, I love people who are actually, really, always ready to talk about the things that I love. I love empowerment. I love to encourage people. I love self-development. And these are the kind of people that I embrace around me. For those of you who are in my WhatsApp group, you know how much pressure I put. I'm so sorry, but it's for your good. Because I know, without all of this I told you guys about me, I wouldn't have been here today. I'm here today because I'm telling you education will never fail you. Trust me. The next thing we're going to talk about is practice self-love. How many of you here do take care of yourselves? How many of you find time to go chill, to go do some massage, go have some baby girl or baby boy time, relax and all that? How many of you? Yes, I'm telling you, you can't give what you don't have. You cannot save with an empty cup. For you to be able to support, a leader needs to know that I need to sharpen the sword. That is one of the seventh habit of highly effective people says that. But as a leader, you need to learn how to sharpen the sword. When you're out of school, please, school should be school. That's why holidays, if you guys remember, we give a lot of excuses these holidays. I don't want us to keep talking about school. Because when the moment we start talking about school, I take you back to the classroom and your students. And that is why I give you time to do the things that you feel comfortable doing for yourself now. You need to refill your cup. You have to feel, as long as we're filling in students' inclusion cup, we need to practice filling in our own cup, because you cannot give what you don't have. You can only give what you have. You cannot serve with an empty cup. You need a full cup so you can be able to give out bit by bit. Please, as a leader, learn to take care of yourself and also learn to set boundaries. Saying no is not wicked. At times when I don't want to come live, I'll just tell you guys, I can't make it today. I cannot kill myself, but do it before I would. When you say no, you're not being wicked. It is just you knowing your person, knowing yourself, and respecting yourself because you know your values and you know that, see, my cup is empty. I have nothing to give. When your cup is empty, don't do it to actually make people or to satisfy people or just to be an eye saver. No. Do it because you feel that when you do it, you will feel fulfilled. I told you guys sit on TikTok for 6 hours, for 4 hours. So people like, no, the energy is there because my cup is always full. I take time to take care of myself. And that's the growth mindset. Please, the moment as a leader, you should be a leader who can stand and say, I failed, it's okay to fail. When you practice accepting that it's okay to fail, you always give your students that grace when they fail. But if you cannot see failure as an opportunity to do better, then you always make your students, you always put them under pressure because you want them to do things perfectly. We are human beings, so we are bound to make mistakes. But the thing is, as a leader, you should be that leader that, because I'll tell you, anything that you're doing along the way, even me being here today, I'm still not perfect, I'm still learning a lot because I have a long way to go. So when I fall or when I fail, I hate failure. But it doesn't mean that I don't fail. But when I fail, I always see as an opportunity to do better next time. And that is who a leader is. When we are able to see leadership in this way, or actually embrace this, then we can be able to give students the grace, even when they make those mistakes, and give them chance to actually grow. We're going to look at celebrating small wins. I always like to say success is a journey and not a destination. Because another shadow teacher or because another LSA is doing much more better in their role doesn't mean that you have to start pressuring yourself and stuff. Please don't look at what your other LSA is doing, especially if it is above your strength. You know the inclusion cup is so empty to carry along. Please take time, fuel yourself, get to know how do you do this without stress. That should be the first thing we should be asking about. but not going into competition, because the moment you start going into competition or failing to celebrate the little wins that you've made. For those of you that I take for mentorship, I ask you guys to write letters for you. How many of you here have ever sat down to write a letter to yourself? How many of you? How many of you have ever sat down to write a letter to yourself, appreciating your little wins? As leaders, we should practice weekly. Yeah, I don't do daily journaling. I do weekly journaling. I assess my day. How far I've come. Celebrate those little wins. This is what leadership is all about. And we're going to look at advocating, which is actually the last. Advocating for better system. As inclusive educators, we are advocates. We are just not teachers. Your classroom teacher is insulting your students, and you're also there. See this one. Now me I make you autistic. Now me I give you ADHD. Oh no! I cannot give. I cannot give extra activity for them. You'll be like, hey, stay because you don't want to do it. Come on, stay there. Lots of us actually put students in that position. But is this how we should do it? Is this how we should do it? No. As leaders, we should be able to stand and advocate, because when you advocate, when you know your rights, you do better. When you don't know your rights, you remain very stagnant, you're scared, but when we are talking about advocating, it's making sure that students do have their resources that they need in the classroom in order to do better, and also students do take the rest that they need to, and also they have their breaks, and also give them the opportunity to make those little choices that will make them feel fulfilled. That's what leadership is all about. So let's look at some of the key takeaways for today. Leadership is about mindset, influence, and problem solving. Challenges in inclusion are not personal attacks. Some of you feel that when the child starts behaving, it's a personal attack. They send you, your village will send you from a back. But no, they are just being who they are. So please let's learn to accept and embrace them, however we find them or however we see them. That's what we are advocating for as inclusive educators. We talk about proactiveness. Let's learn to be proactive leaders, having a vision. Remember, like I said, failing to plan is planning to fail. When you don't have a vision, you don't even know. That's why I keep telling you guys every day, write yourself a monthly vision. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve before the end of the month with my students? And the end of the month, assess it. Did I achieve it? Where did I go wrong? What do I have to do better? Please practice that. I'm encouraging some of you who have not heard this before. Get yourself a diary. It's very important. And also understanding before reacting is very important. A strong support system. Please attend seminars as much as you can. It's never enough. No knowledge is useless. Take care of yourself. Have a good mindset. Celebrate those little wins. Advocate for change. So let's have this. And as we leave here today, leadership is not about titles. You must not be an inclusion teacher. You must not be a principal for you to be a leader. Leadership is being accepting your values as a human being. It's all about daily choices we make to uplift others. So when we lead with empathy, see potentials in every child, and create space where differences are not just accepted but celebrated, we empower every learner to strive better. So leadership in inclusive education is about influence and not authority. Don't authorize children around bullying them around the name of I'm a leader, I'm a teacher. Resilience comes from being proactive and having a vision. Advocacy is about seeking to understand and driving solutions. So I leave you with this today. How will you show up as a leader in your school, your classroom, or your community? Because leadership isn't something that you wait for. It is something you step into when starting your day. Thank you guys so much, and I want to believe that we're going to continue to stand together for inclusion. Because thank you, and you have a wonderful day.
One of the takeaways is that leadership isn't something you wait for. It's something you step into, just like I'm stepping into it now. Yes, she's beautiful. Put those hands together for her.
Miss
Mimi, you are looking wonderful.
Take your way,
Put those hands together for our husband. Because he's doing a wonderful job. I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous. Are you excited?
Yeah.
I get like that. You know how we used to do. Let's romance. Are you excited? Are you excited? Let the African in you come out now. Are you excited? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. So if I was to be an LSA child, is that how you treat me? Are you excited? Yes. Okay, good. Let's put our hands together for that wonderful presentation. At this moment, I will want to invite our guest speaker. I believe he's fully loaded. He's someone who has seen it all by the grace of God, and he has come to share his wealth of experience with you and I. Whatever you're going to be hearing from him today, it's very important. In fact, these are people you don't see on a regular basis. It takes time to book them, and if you have opportunity to hear from them, please maximize it. So at this moment, I want to say this before I welcome him. I think the brothers school we are doing well. We are beginning to increase in numbers. Yes. The sisters cannot overshadow us. No, I don't believe for anybody this year. So at this moment, I want us to put our hands together as we welcome no other person than Mr. Eric Moore. You can do better than that. Please don't embarrass me. Please help me now. You see how we're welcoming you, sir. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir.
Hello, Dubai. Are you ready?
Yes.
Dubai, are you ready?
Yes.
Dubai, are you ready?
Yes.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. My name is Eric Moore. I just wanted to know that English is not my first language, as you can see. I'm not English. English is actually my fifth language.
Wow.
Because my first language is Pidgin. And my second language is Com. And then my third language is Uganda. I was in Uganda for 10 years. And then my fourth language is Makato. You know what Makato is?
No.
Sign language for autistic young people. And then English.
Wow.
So thank you so much for welcoming me tonight. I'm so honored to be here. I hope this master class will be a changer for a lot of you. The interest is what you have come for. At the beginning, I'm sure this question was asked.
Please don't be offended. We're about to go live. Please, Mr. Eric Moore's speech has been sent to the group. Let's share, comment, and subscribe, please, as he begins.
I have a YouTube channel which is just new. This thing is too loud. If you can subscribe, that would be nice. It's too much, isn't it? Like this. Oh, thank you so much. So thank you so much for welcoming me. I have a history with autism and learning disability. I left Uganda in 2009 as a teacher. I used to teach at Kisubi University Seminary. I used to teach at preparatory girls' school. And then I went to Cameroon. And when I went to Cameroon, I was asked to be pedagogy inspector for schools and colleges in the Southwest. What was really, really difficult is any young person who came to school and was struggling, and they come to the inspectorate, we always advise them to go back home. I always say, no, you should go home. So most of these children could not engage in learning. And then in 2010, I went to the UK, and my first 2 months was having an experience, seeing how these young people can learn. And I just thought, this is it. And then till today, that's what I do. I do everything for autism. I talk a lot to people. I talk a lot to families. I talk a lot to parents. My real interests are people who have passion for it rather than the money. Trust me, if you have passion for it, the money will come. I am not telling you a lie. If you have passion for it, the money will come. At the beginning of this, I thought they were asked them, what are your expectations? Can I just get an expectation of this? What are you expecting from this master class today? Some knowledge, to be a leader. That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Miriam, for that wonderful contribution today. Each time I attend a conference or a seminar, my area is not often on the screen. Thank you so much for that. My area is not often on the screen. I do hands-on. I work a lot with these young people. I work a lot with their teachers, with their teaching assistants. In 2012, I was carrying out a research in a small city in America, in Minneapolis. And the research was to see how children with autism work well with black staff. It was in the community of a small community school. And let me just give you the feedback. After carrying out that research, it showed that the children, black children with autism, work so well with black support staff and teachers. If a black staff is working, sorry, when I'm saying black staff, I hope you understand. If a black staff is moving ahead, any child with autism who can communicate will always call them auntie or uncle. They will never call them by their names. If it's a white staff, they'll call them by name. John, help me. Peter, help me. But they'll always say auntie, uncle, when they want to communicate with them. And then from the research, we noticed that a lot of those children were looking up to those staff as their parents. So they will easily listen to them, they will easily relate to them, they will easily participate in events. The research was a bit different at the end. And the difference at the end for me was the child could not make choices with the black staff, with the black support staff, the black kids. The reason being that they were working a lot. They were participating out of fear rather than respect. Do this, they will do it. Even if they don't like it. If it's a white staff, you say no. Have you got that?
Yes.
So this is part of the information. If you are working, if somebody is working with your child, try to identify if they are doing it out of love or fear. And it is very, very important. So most of I will need to have some 4 chairs on stage, and then with 3 people to participate with me. I always do it practical. We'll have 2 sessions with you today. One will be this on the stage, and then the next time we're going to have some sort of a workshop. It will still be hands-on, and everyone is going to engage. Is that okay? If you get bored, let me know. If somebody sleeps, I know I'm having a problem. So I'll need to bring one of my bags from behind here.
Can someone assist you?
Just and I have some 4 chairs and then maybe some 4 representatives. This one has to be 2 boys. You're both boys, right?
Boys are here.
And then we have 2 girls. They come on stage. Welcome.
not working? Talk to the guy there, the Asian guy.
Sorry, let me just get my bags. Okay.
The bags are here.
At some point, is it possible for us to be turning off the lights? Will it be possible? Yeah, that'll be good. This is good like this. Thank you so much. I like this. Whenever I'm working with young people with autism, I always have a small bag. And in the UK, in every school, especially school, they have a sensory room. I'm sure you could have some of them around. Yes. It's a sensory space to work with these young people with autism. After having a lot of experience working with those young people, I've taught the very young ones. I've taught the primary school. I've taught in the secondary school. I've taught in the college. So we have colleges for them as well. My long-term work was with the National Autistic Society. That's the biggest organization for people with autism in the UK. I forgot to tell you, paperwork like degrees are really good to have. Certificates are very good to have. So when you come even to a conference like this, find out what is the next step. The higher you go, the better you are. I did some course in special and inclusive education, a master's degree around 2013. That was like a booster, just pushed me up. And then I saw that they were teaching nursing. I really don't enjoy the nurse, but I wanted to be a nurse for autism and learning disability, and I had that qualification. It just makes me versatile. So when I'm everywhere, they want me to come and talk. And I always like to share that knowledge. So if you have any opportunity to have a certificate, keep getting it. It's not a waste. For the past 4 or 5 years now, the UK has been giving certificates of sponsorship for people. I think they've just slowed down now, but they used to give it a lot. And very often the certificate you have is what they ask for. Which certificate do you have? What can you show that you can participate in learning, teaching and learning, and things like that. I always have a trolley with me. And the reason for this trolley is that the young person I have, I know the type of things they like, and I always want to engage with them. I've brought a little bit more because when I used to go online, some people want to buy them. I have some behind there, a lot of them. But most of the ones I have here are the ones I wanted to show you. The reason why, when I go live, I always tell people I'm not selling. And for a fact, I don't sell it to people who watch me online. I want us to have an engagement, and then you know how to use it. It makes more sense to me. In 2019, I was asked to make a sensory box for children in Kenya. They paid £5,000. That's a lot of money. I provided those resources and I sent it down there. 2 months later, they didn't have anything. Reason being that they were giving it to the children as a play toy. And all of a sudden, there was no toy for them. So let's see how we can use this for our students and engage with some of the activities that we have. I had some other 2 small bags, handbags like that. They're here.
Why don't we get somebody that can assist him? while he's
Please,
taking
the more you participate in this particular live show, the better, because
I don't even know what
I'm going to give presents.
But he's pulling with maybe if we get someone who can assist
It's
him.
very important. Yeah, thank you. When I did mention that one of my languages, by the way, if you can learn Makaton, it's a sign language that people pay a lot to learn. So you can train to be a teacher for Makaton, and then you help others. It is a general, it's very different from sign language. Not very different, very different, it's quite basic. You have some workbook for Makaton? Do you want the light to be moved? Which they use. So if you want to have a look of how it looks like. Sorry, they are not for sale. It's just that I wanted, when I'm talking sometimes, I just want to show some of the things I use. My live show doesn't come on. Is it because I don't have enough internet? Yes, it is. Yeah, that would be nice. I'd like to see how Can you see what is this? Yeah. I love that. This is shiny. You see that? Let me show you something. Can you make it so that we have just the white? Make it so we have just the white place. Yes. Please, can you turn out all the lights, please? Turn it off. And this one. Can we go off or not? Yeah. What we do is that during the month of getting to festivals where you're supposed to have fireworks, it is very, very important to engage with young people with autism to prepare them for that. They will not know it. Even the sound of those fireworks, create the sounds using YouTube, make some sounds and prepare them towards that event. Every time an event is coming and you know it, engage our young people. There's a form of teaching which I prefer us as teachers should engage in. No matter what the teacher in the class is doing, have some sort of themes that you engage a young person.
Turn on the light, please.
If they give you, if they tell you that they're going to teach fractions in class, you have your young person, you know what they like, engage them in that. One of the crucial ways is that I'm so practical. If, for instance, I'm to teach fractions, they always say 1, half, a quarter. To me, growing in Cameroon, if you don't get it right, you'll be whipped, you'll be beaten. And because of that, I never learned those things. I will run away. However, you discover that when you have things that you can enable those children learn, it makes more sense. Sorry, when I put out the light, it's good to put on your light. I'm so sorry. Yeah? Thank you. And then you realize that now when you are talking about fractions for these young people, you can use a slice of bread. You cut it to two. What do you have? A half and a half. It depends the learner you have. Some can learn that half and a half for a week, 2 weeks, a month, but they'll get it right. But do you know why they'll keep coming for the math class? Every time you show a half and a half, you put a jam or butter and you give them to eat. Tomorrow they'll want to learn math. There is this device, those who are on working on sites, some meter thing which is a ring. To measure 1 meter, it makes after when you are measuring a meter, a step. You have a young person with autism, and you tell them that you want to measure the size of the class, and you give them that, they will measure it with you. And you discover that you'll be able to do it tomorrow, you'll be able to do it after tomorrow. When you are teaching cups, half full, empty, they used to draw it on the board. Can you imagine how difficult it is to know that you like that is a bottle, and up there is full, and in the middle is half? If a child a glass of water and say full, drink it to half and say half. Give them juice and do the same. Tomorrow, when you are talking about the quantity of what is in the container, they will tell you because you have shown them rather than draw it on the board. Please, you know your young people you work with. Very often when I'm interacting, I always say, if you have a child, if you're working with a child who's a picker, you know what a picker is? You know who is a picker? Yes, everything they put in their mouth. Please, if you have a picker, what is very important for you to do is to identify the things you are working with them. Not things that they can put in their mouth. Things that they might not put in their mouth. I do a lot of what they call turn-taking activities. We're going to have one of them. Can you turn off the light, please? Are we together? Do I have to stand up? Want to hold it, show it to your friend. I want us to have an interaction so that your friend has to press it. It's a part of it. Are you going to follow? Please, when you want me to make it better, you just let me know so that we engage with this to the best. This is a turn-taking device. It helps the young person with autism to be able to wait and take turns. I do it, you do it. I do it, you do it. Do you know how it helps them? When you take them to the supermarket, they know that they can wait on the queue because they don't understand why they should wait in the queue. So they know they can wait, and then they wait for their turn. When they are eating with their siblings, they don't just put food in their mouth. They can watch, and then they know that they can wait, and then they take their turn. Is that okay? This is a very good device to use. I don't know how, if you have used this before, can you put up your hand? The volume is quite low, but maybe you see the colors. Wait. When you turn the first color, press that same one. Yeah. 2, press it 2. No, you miss it. Let me show you what we have. That's really good. That's really good. If he presses the color that flashes, the next time 2 colors will flash, then you will press the 2 colors. The next time 3 colors will flash, and the next time you will press It's all about memory to see if you can keep it. And then if you have a team of young people with autism, you discover that some will grasp very fast. The ones who can grasp slower, do them first, so that they can pick the one. The one who struggles a little bit more, take them to the end. Does it make sense? Let's try it one more time. Wait. The same. You have to press the same one. Let's try it again one more time. You have to press down.